Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. In 1952, military personnel stood together on the deck of a Navy flagship, the USS FDR, and watched as a disc-shaped UFO hovered above them. 3 photographs were taken, and this sighting was just the first of many reported aboard the ship. Despite vehement denials from the Navy, many people who served on the USS FDR believe that she was a UFO magnet.
Sometime in late July, early August of 1952, as an ensign, I saw a bright light at the forward of the bow on the right-hand side, which would be the starboard side.
The ship was on a shakedown cruise near Gitmo, Cuba, and I was down below decks. It was maybe approximately 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, I think it was. And a buddy of mine, Vince, we'd seen a bunch of men coming from the engine room compartment running up topside on a ladder. Said, "Red, why don't you go up there and see what's going on?" So I followed these guys up 3 or 4 decks up to the flight deck, and we were watching this little object, like a light, that was following our ship. And then it came out of the sky at us.
My friends called me to come outside, and we observed a bright light quite high in the sky. It looked like a star, but was much brighter. The light tracked at a high speed and came to a stop, altered direction, and accelerated to high speed, stopped again, and it proceeded across the sky in this manner until it disappeared into the moonlight.
These 3 men, Robert Coburn, Chester Grzinski, and John Lawrence, all served on the USS FDR. But each man was assigned to the ship on different tours, in different years, and with different jobs. And yet each man saw the same thing sometime during his service, an unidentified flying object tracking the Navy aircraft carrier through the sky. Others stood with them and witnessed the same events, which occurred over a 10-year period. But there is no record of any sightings in the ship's logs, and attempts to find other eyewitnesses have failed.
I know that during September of '52, there were a series of incidents during Operation Mainbrace, which was a series of naval maneuvers, military maneuvers with other countries. And during those maneuvers, there were a number of UFO incidents reported, one occurring in connection with a fighter jet, which had been followed by an unidentified flying object.
Barry Greenwood is the research director of CAUSE, Citizens Against UFO Secrecy. He is also the co-author of the UFO Cover-Up. Greenwood has collected photographs of UFOs taken in 1952 from the deck of the flagship for Operation Mainbrace. They were taken aboard the USS Franklin D. Roosevelt.
On September 20th, a newspaper reporter was on the flight deck of the carrier, had a color camera with him, and he said he turned down the flight deck and noticed a group of guys looking up into the sky. He ran down there and noticed a large spherical object hanging in the air. Everybody was looking at it, so he had his camera. He decided to take some shots. And when he ran the exposures, so the object accelerated, took off at high speed, disappeared. They thought it was a balloon initially. So the brass called the various other ships in the area, asked about a balloon. Nobody launched a balloon. Nobody knows anything about it. They listed it as an unknown. Possible balloon, but nobody knows where it came from.
No, it's quite obvious that we had seen something. We don't know what it was. We knew that it couldn't be an airplane because an airplane could not start and stop. The rate of speed was too fast for a helicopter, and it was too erratic a pattern track for a weather balloon.
Leon Treadwell also served on the USS FDR in the 1950s. He recalls a UFO encounter he witnessed, along with several other men, while on anchor watch in Rio de Janeiro.
2 ships, or appeared to be ships, one above the other, maybe about 200 or 300 feet separated the 2 of them, and counter-rotating lights. And all of a sudden a fireball dropped between the upper ship to the lower ship. Nobody knew what the devil was going on. There was actual radar contact on these vehicles.
This painting depicts what Leon claims he and several other sailors saw on board the USS FDR that night.
Several officers And these are representatives of divisional departments. They couldn't believe what they were looking at. Everybody signed a release statement that nobody outside of CIC would say anything about this for at least 15 to 20 years.
The CIC, the Combat Information Center, is master control for any Navy aircraft carrier. Here is where radar, mapping, target searches, and operations are conducted.
We were just told to not say anything about this to anybody outside of Combat Information Center.
The commander down in Virginia, when I was discussing this with him, he was on a ship, he told me that I wasn't even supposed to mention this. I just ignored what he said. One of my desires in life is to find these other witnesses who were up on that flight deck with me witnessing this object as it came on top of the ship. A lot of times I wish that this would have never happened because all the aggravation is causing. I had people that laughed and said they wouldn't believe me. And really, yeah, I was there. I seen it. You were there. You don't know. You don't know what it was like.
But why would an unidentified flying object of this Earth or any other spend nearly a decade tailing this particular ship? Crewmen claim that the FDR carried advanced nuclear weaponry, which was supposedly top secret.
The sighting was well known to insiders in the government at the time. It was written about by the head of Project Blue Book after he retired from the military, and he described it in great detail.
There's a possibility that our weapons were of a sort that they were interested in. Of course, the carrier carried all kinds of different weapons. The FDR was the only aircraft carrier at the time that had thermonuclear capability. It was the only one that was allowed to carry the H-bomb.
We would be the only ship, naturally, that would carry them because we would have the only method of delivering the atomic bombs.
Since World War II, there have been a number of UFO sightings linked to nuclear storage and transport facilities. But these reports remain unsubstantiated, in large part because the government organization best equipped to investigate the sightings, the U.S. military, refuses to do so.
I think they are probably covering up the incidents with the FDR because they're covering up all incidents of UFO sightings.
I won't rest till I find somebody else that was on that flight deck was going to witness that same thing I did.
The experience of the crew members aboard the USS FDR may not be unique. Sightings is currently conducting an in-depth investigation into charges that UFO confrontations have occurred at 3 different military bases where nuclear weapons are stored. We'll bring you the results of that investigation on a future edition of Sightings.